Joining us now from the Pakistani capital is political analyst Javed Rana. Javed, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Javed, we're hearing some reports that India might avenge its defeat, which was a heavy defeat when both sides attacked one another. What's the latest about these reports, Javed?
I don't think these reports are correct. There's a lot of propaganda in Pakistan, particularly on social media and some of the mainstream channels also, basically causing some kind of unrealistic fear among people that the threat of Indian retaliation or Indian attack is still there. Given the fact that India's military was beaten in black and blue, their 5-6 fighter jets, including their premier fighter jets, rifle jets, were shot down, and that is a fact which is largely internationally accepted, and even Indian officials are now indirectly conceding to that. And similarly, India had a lot of setbacks on its military bases. Even Pakistani military was there at least up to 8 to 10 kilometers inside Indian part of occupied Kashmir. And even on international border, Pakistan military was there. I mean, they had taken over some of the checkposts from the Indian side. So with that in background, do you think that India would immediately attack Pakistan? So the bigger question is, what is the source of these rumors? And what are the political objectives? There are allegations coming from the different quarters suggesting that the military, Pakistan military, which gained a lot of popularity after militarily defeating India, they want to exploit this situation for the political motivations. And there are now credible reports suggesting that the government picked up by the military is going to go for some kind of a constitutional amendment where so far informal, illegal, unconstitutional role of the military in the political affairs would be given some kind of a constitutional and legal cover. That is a possibility because military has basically taken over in an unannounced manner. It is a kind of a coup in Pakistan starting from February 2024's general elections, because then there was a lot of rigging in the general elections, bogus election results were prepared. From then onwards, I think military, it looks like, have now taken over the judiciary, taken over the other civilian departments. So I think it is a now easy game for the military, and the government simply obeys its orders. And so far as the judges are concerned, they also listen to the military journals. So in that context, that possibility is there. And so the very fact that the fear factor is there, rumors are there, that is basically to keep military relevant to the political affairs. I don't think this is going to work. This is a kind of the path which has a proven track record of failure in the past. Pakistan was in a similar situation in the past repeatedly. There have been repeated military takeovers. Now, only difference is that there is no announcement, and we know that whenever this happened, then after a couple of years, the new political government comes in, they undo all these kind of changes in the constitution. So, in a broader picture, Pakistan is safe and sound. I don't foresee that India would attack Pakistan. India is under shock. It will take years for India to think of attacking Pakistan.
Javed, let's talk about Bangladesh, because Bangladesh is now setting up defense complexes in 2 cities, and these 2 defense complexes are being backed by Turkey. Now, a while ago, we saw how the Indian media reacted to the attacks that were continuing between Pakistan and India, where India said that we don't have just Pakistan to look forward to. We also have Turkey, because Turkey has been providing weapons and equipment to Pakistan. So now when we look at the situation in Bangladesh, where 2 defense complexes are being built with the help of Turkish defense firms, don't you think that it's going to be a difficult place for India to be in?
I think India's problem is, which is reflected in its media, that they feel threatened from everything. Turkey has a defense cooperation with Pakistan, with Saudi Arabia, with Qatar, with Azerbaijan. You name so many countries. I mean, there are so many countries with which Turkey has a defense cooperation. What is wrong with it? If Turkey now is expanding its defense ties with the Bangladesh. The fact of the matter is that India is a kind of expansionist state. That is something which is the RSS government has been saying. I mean, the RSS is the basically strength on the basis of which the BJP government is standing on. They have a clear agenda of expansionism. So they feel being threatened. Now, all these countries in the South Asia, you talk about Maldives, you talk about Nepal, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, they have got fed up with India. And that is why India's bilateral ties with all these countries have gone from bad to the worst. India now not only feels isolated, but it also feels encircled. And with the Turkey as a defense cooperation with Bangladesh, it means that there is a fear in New Delhi that now Turkey, after providing weaponry support to Pakistan, could further encircle India. And since it is coming into Bangladesh, the fact of the matter is these are the just defense complexes which Bangladeshi government is setting up, and Turkey is providing help, and it is having a partnership with Bangladesh, like with Pakistan. With Pakistan, Turkey has set up a military complex. They are manufacturing the warships. And similarly, Turkey has defense ties. Turkey has been manufacturing drones and other weapons with Saudi Arabia, with Qatar. And again, these are unfounded apprehensions on the part of India and Indian, more particularly Indian media. That is that reflects a kind of a encircled mindset, which always fears that something is going to happen.
Javed, my final question to you is, do you think that India is getting more isolated than ever? Because we saw border clashes with India, then there's Afghanistan. Okay, with Afghanistan, it might have a sound relationship, but then there's Pakistan, then there's Bangladesh, Maldives, and Sri Lanka. Do you think it's growing excessively isolated in the region?
It has been isolated out of a result of their own strategic blunders. And Indian foreign policy stems from arrogance. What many call it as a strategic arrogance. They believe that they should not be hyphenated with Pakistan. Pakistan is a small country. But now everybody in the world have seen that in the recent war with India, we have seen that Pakistan has beaten India in black and blue, and after that, India went into isolation. In SCO conference, you would have seen that there was no anti-Pakistan statement, and the reason being was no one was willing to buy India's thesis that Pakistani hand was there in an attack in disputed Kashmir region, which was the baseline for India to carry out aggressive attack on Pakistan, and then what happened later on, everybody knows. So in that context, India is losing. Even in Quad's meetings in Washington, there was no anti-Pakistan statement. No one is willing to buy their stance. And I think the image of India has been shattered. Pakistan's air chief was in the USA, and many in India, they believe that actually USA is getting briefing from Pakistan's air chief about the capability and the capacity of India's air force after 6 planes of its were shot down by Pakistan. So now even Americans are feeling very uncomfortable behind the scene with India, because Americans wanted to use India against China. And now Americans have realized that it cannot even fight with Pakistan, what to talk of a China, which is a superpower.
Javed, thanks for that analysis. It was a pleasure having you on the program today.
The growing tide of anti-Israel sentiments
What you see behind me is just tip of the iceberg of what is happening in the country. More than half of $52 billion black CIA budget is spent on espionage network in Pakistan. How would you handle it?
The US has looked upon Pakistan as an ally at one point and then as an enemy at the same time.
That is going to be the first legal reason on the basis of which he is going to be instantly ousted by the Supreme Court of Pakistan.
Joining us live, Javed Rana, who's an expert on politics and geostrategic issues.
In the world politics, which is not being driven by any moral principle, it is being driven by the hard geostrategic realities. In a broader picture, more countries would aspire to have nuclear weapons.